Hello YouTube. Bit of a special one today. What have Triumph done here? Speed Triple 1200 RR. It is an absolute, in my opinion, beautiful motorbike. Let's get into this and take her for a ride, see if it rides as good as it looks, to be honest. Alrighty, first off, I'd like to say a massive thank you, as per usual, to Blade Motorcycles here in Swindon. I'm at their Triumph dealership section, but they do many others. They do KTM, Yamaha, Kawasaki, Ducati, everything. So many thanks to them for really letting me take this bike out for a nice amount of time to take her for a test ride. Because when I saw this came out, honestly, I think it's absolutely gorgeous. Absolutely stunning. I ride a Triumph Speedmaster, completely different type of bike, but I'm into the looks of motorcycles, and this here may just drag me into the sports bike world, because I think it's possibly the best motorbike in the world at the moment. I'm gonna say that. Apologies if you don't. Basically, Triumph originally came out with the 2021, it was the Speed Triple 1200 RS, which is a naked version of this bike. Very much a new motorbike. If I'm being completely honest, I haven't actually ridden that bike, so I'm diving straight into the deep end on this. Yeah, they started with the naked, and then they've come out with this sort of, it's like a classic racing style motorbike, really. I mean, it's not a full superbike like a 200 horsepower fire breathing monster, but it's not lacking power. It's got 178 brake horsepower. We'll go over figures later. Anyway, I'm yapping on too much. Let's turn her on and go for the initial cruise. Ah, yeah, I was just waiting for the dash to come up there. To be completely transparent, the other day I rode the Honda CB1000R, which was a lovely machine, and that was, to be honest, my first proper shall we say, racy sports bike. And I've just gone up another level, team, to jump on this and go for a ride. A 1200 1.2 litre 1200cc. This is a proper sports bike, isn't it? Oh my god, I'm going to be a bit blown away for words, really. £18,000 motorbike. You're leaning a lot more forward than you are on sort of naked machines, naked motorbikes. You've got clip-on handlebars. It's a much more of a racy vibe to it. First initial impressions, actually, I was pretty nervous to get on this, to be honest. I've never really ridden a sports bike with a fairing at the front and clip-ons, but it's actually very nice and easy to ride. I know I do say that quite a lot. Most modern motorbikes are, but this is actually very unintimidating so far. There's not a load of weight on my wrists, definitely canted forward, more than I'm used to. Feet are nicely tucked up, but I don't feel cramped. It actually feels very planted. For some reason I felt like the front end was going to be a tad, not sure, I felt like the front end would be a bit sketchy on the front end, to be honest, but I don't at all. And it doesn't feel like a big unwieldy snappy machine. It's very, very smooth, not a problem at all. I'm surprised. I'm actually quite excited, because I thought it was going to be too much for me. Obviously it's not as comfortable as a naked machine or a cruiser or an adventure bike. Your neck's up a bit, you know, you got to crick your neck a bit to look up, but not too bad at all. Lovely light clutch. The quick shifter is very, very, very nice. I would actually say probably better than on the CB1000R, the Honda I rode the other day. But yeah, this is a much more sporty riding position than a naked machine. You've got that sort of racer vibe to it, shall we say. First initial thoughts, not too intimidating at all. Looking forward to opening it up a bit. You've got a nice TFT screen here. We'll go over it a little bit more in depth a bit later. I believe it's a 5-inch full colour TFT. And this bike is fully spec'd out. To be honest, more than my knowledge goes depth-wise. It's got fully adjustable Öhlins front and rear suspension, which is actually adjustable on the move, so you can go into the colour TFT, and I believe you can adjust the suspension. We'll go over it later, but in the screen, and make it harder and softer for when you're on the move, which is really clever. You don't have to get off, you can do it all when you're riding. It's got cruise control here, which if you're doing a long journey to get to some nice twisty roads, that's quite handy. I always like a bit of cruise control. I gotta be honest, I'm actually finding this surprisingly nice. I'm just chatting away to you here and I can really concentrate on the road and talking to you, which is a great sign. I'm comparing it really to the CB1000R. Yes, the other day I rode, just because that's fresh in my memory. This 1200cc triple, it feels a lot meatier, which I much prefer. Makes it a lot easier to ride. There's a lot of torque in the mid-range. Just go for the overtake. It's in 6th gear. You just roll on. There's loads of power there. Really, really nice and controllable. Pretty windy on the motorway. Catch up with you in a bit. So just as we're bumbling through town here, guys, the TFT is really nice. It's full colour. I don't know if you've ridden possibly the new Tiger. Possibly not, it's so new, but it's actually really nice to navigate. You've got your mode button on the left here. Just press that. And then you toggle on the left, switch up and down, and you change between the modes. So you've got Rider, Rain, Road and Sport. So Rider's obviously configurable. You can configure everything you need in Rider to your own specific needs, and then obviously Rain dulls the throttle response and increases the traction control, and then Road is slightly more robust, and obviously Sport is quicker if you want to take it onto the track or you're riding more spiritedly on the road. And yeah, it's really easy. We'll chuck it into Sport in a second and see what she goes like on the twisties. So far so good though. I am enjoying this. It's riding very nicely. I'm really pleased it's not as intimidating as I thought. I think because it's that 1200 engine, you know, it's just got so much torque. It's quite forgiving in a way. And if you find yourself in the wrong gear, it doesn't really matter. There's just so much power there. Oh, you gotta love Triumph's triple engine though. They know what they're doing. So nice. So in road mode, here we go. Quick shifter is so nice. Yeah, I'm really pleased. So Triumph, like a quoting, you know, it's the perfect sort of sports bike for the road. I definitely see where they're coming from. It's actually quite comfortable. I'm not finding it too, I'm leaning forward. I've got a big backpack on as well. It's absolutely fine. Actually, there's a bit of weight on my wrists, but not too much. It's quite reassuring. You can still sort of sit upright and get your head up high to view, you know, round corners or above traffic. Not quite above, but you can get a nice commanding view. Yeah, I've sort of lost the words. I mean, everything's so good, I don't really know what to say. Like the brakes, I was quite taken aback by. They almost feel like you're on a PlayStation or something. But in a good way. That you can feel them, but they're so good. And it being a relatively light bike compared to what I'm used to riding, 199 kilograms I believe. So the brakes stop it very, very effectively. Yeah, buddy. Oh, and the suspension's ridiculously good. The suspension is not too hard. I'm surprised by that as well. I just went over a bit of a manhole, sort of pothole, and it just, you know, bracing myself for a bone clattering bump, but it didn't, it just took it up. Oh my god, it's nice. I like sports bikes. I like sports bikes. This is super nice. I'm actually preferring this a fair bit more, sorry Honda, than the Honda CB1000R. I know it's a completely different bike and this is a lot more expensive at 18 grand, but it's easier this. I'm amazed how easy it is. Oh, it's so planted around the corners, it is so good. The handling, I'm just taking it easy because I'm not used to this leaning forward, but it's very, very solid. So the quick shifter, I'm shifting too early, way too early, but you want to be on the gas for it, and then you literally don't feel it. I'm not in sport mode. I'm told that makes a big difference. We'll do that in a bit. But it's usable, guys. I'm not a mega sporty rider. I'm guessing it's the 1200 with all that torque. I think it's 123 Newton meters of torque, and you can just use it. It's nice, mid-range. You don't have to wring it out to the top to enjoy it. There's a load of torque there. I'm in 4th gear now, 50 miles an hour. You just roll on the throttle and there's a nice meaty amount of torque to have fun with. And that makes it even nicer for on the road when you come to overtaking, because the power's just there when you need it. What have Triumph done here? I think they've absolutely blown it out of the water. Like I was saying earlier, it's a stunning looking bike, I personally think. I've never been into sports bikes, which some people think that's blasphemy, but I haven't. But this just caught my eye immediately. I saw it at up in Birmingham, the NEC, the bike show up there, and I just thought, what on earth is that? It's stunning. So it mixes that classic sort of cafe racery, classic racer vibe, which I think is cool, but with the premium, best modern technology. I'm blown away. I thought I was going to be intimidated. I'm not intimidated at all by it. That's not to say it's not quick. Haven't had it in sport mode, and I've barely opened it up really. It's been plenty quick enough for me already. And like I said, that torque from the 1200 is the bigger capacity, the 1200cc triple. It's actually 1160cc. But yeah, it's beautiful, that torque on it. So it's perfect. You've got the looks, and it's easily rideable as well. On that engine, the 1200cc inline triple, it's pretty much exactly the same as the one in the 1200 RS version, the naked version of this bike. It's putting out 178 brake horsepower and 125 Newton meters of torque. So the peak horsepower comes in at 10,750 RPM, and the peak torque comes in at 9,000 RPM. It's a sports bike. The power's delivered up high, so you have to rev it out to get that full 178 brake horsepower, which is a lot of power. I haven't gone near that yet. We'll go in a second and test it in sport. Stunning engine. Triumph know what they're doing with triples, and this is like a move on. It's characterful at the same time as being really smooth. Really nice motor. Right up my street, this motor. You can feel the torque, which is really nice. Okay, so let's move on to the front suspension and front brakes. So the front suspension is Öhlins 43mm diameter with 120mm travel, and it's fully adjustable. As I was saying earlier, you can adjust it in the TFT screen, full color TFT screen, and yeah, the suspension is pretty premium, as Öhlins generally is. It is sweet. I haven't even touched it actually. Immediately hopping on it just seems to suit my, I don't know, I wouldn't really need to adjust it at all. If you took it to a track, I'd adjust it and stiffen it up and have a play with it. But yeah, very nice. Even like, it's not too much on the sporty side. You go over potholes and bumps, it soaks them up very nicely. So I think Triumph have hit the nail on the head, going for the slightly sort of the perfect road sports bike with the suspension setup. They seem to have hit that perfectly. So onto the front brakes. The anchors up front are again very nice, sweet. Yeah, best brakes I've ever used. You've got two 320mm discs up front with Brembo Stylema brakes as well. So they are very nice premium brakes. Stop you incredibly well. Not too grabby, not soft at all, and because of the weight of the bike, which we'll get onto a bit, it stops the bike very nicely. Okay, onto the rear brakes and suspension. Rear suspension again, premium. You've got Öhlins suspension, monoshock RSU with 120mm travel, and that is also an Öhlins electrical adjustable system that you can adjust on the TFT as well, so you do the front and the rear. So the rear brakes, you've got a single disc, 220mm diameter single disc with a 2-piston Brembo caliper on it. And actually a point to mention with the brakes on this, which I was surprised by. I'm not sure, maybe they do it on race bikes more than I thought. I thought it was more of a scooter thing, but the brakes are linked only by a small amount. But so if you come on the front brake, the rear brake will actually dab on a very small amount, I'm told, and actually Triumph do say it has a massive impact in your stopping distance. So maybe that's partly why I'm feeling the brakes to be, as well as obviously the the system from Brembo, the Stylema, but to be so premium because they're actually linked, so it is doing a bit of the back brake for you as well as the front. Okay, so the weight of said motorbike, the Speed Triple 1200 RR, 199 kilograms. Now, to my mind, that's very light. Actually, that's for a 1200cc motorcycle as well. That's quite a light bike. Manoeuvring it around, I mean, you're not going to have any problems manoeuvring it. And on the road, the weight, I wouldn't say it specifically feels very low down, but it feels very neutral and central. And look, I mean, it's not a heavy bike. It doesn't feel heavy. It turns in really nicely, and the handling's great. It stops incredibly well. 199 kilogram the weight. What more can I say? It's really not a problem. Doesn't seem to affect the bike in any negative way at all. So on to the seat height. Seat height is 830 millimeters. I'm 5'9", so I'll jump on now and give you a perspective of how it looks for someone of my height. Try not to fall off. Yeah, so I can sort of, not just about, vaguely comfortably flat foot it. The seat's nice and thin, so as I was saying earlier, the bike feels small. It feels quite thin and small and manoeuvrable, very unintimidating, which ties in with the weight of it as well. It's really nice dimensions, and when you're leaning forward, it's sporty. You're much more length forward than on a naked, but it's not too much. I'm not finding too much weight on my wrists. It's quite a comfortable riding position. Cool, so gone over quite a few of the specs there. As I was saying earlier, it's such premium, so much technology on this bike, it's almost more than my knowledge goes and talk about. All I can say is it's really good, pretty much. It's really, really good and feels very nice. But let's just go into some of the details on it, just the looks of the bike. Let me know what you think of the looks of the bike in the comments below. But as you know, I think it looks absolutely awesome, and to be mixed with such capability and performance is really, really nice mixture and nice package. But yeah, some of the details on her is just the carbon fibre, just the mud guard up here, carbon fibre accents on the front indicators, and then coming along just under the fuel tank, some beautiful carbon fibre. If you've never seen Triumph paintwork before, the pinstripe splitting the black and the sort of the red here, excuse me, I can't remember the Triumph official term for the paint, but such nice detailing. It's a quality built motorbike. Even if you're into your cruisers and you know, I know a lot of my viewers are like the Triumph Speedmaster. This is slightly, doesn't ride like it at all obviously, but looks wise it evokes that emotion. It's such a beautiful and well built machine. Okay guys, let's go for the obligatory sound test. Everyone likes a sound test, see what she sounds like. We've got the standard silencer on here. I would probably swap it out for a different silencer, to be honest, but it sounds pretty nice on the road. When you blip it down with the quick shifter, it actually cracks and popples every now and then, which is nice. Oh, such a beautiful day today. Had to take my jumper off and tie it around my waist. I'm just going to pop her in sport mode with the dial here. There we go. And then you push the toggle in. There we go. So she's in sport mode, and I'm told by George at Blade Swindon Motorcycles that it makes a very nice difference. So here we go, George. And he was right. Oh, I love it when that comes together on a motorbike. Sometimes when you pop it in sport mode, it just falls apart. Well, not literally. Yeah, sport mode is nuts. Okay, that can be more intimidating. So that's a nice characteristic though. Yeah, buddy. makes it so much nicer. Thank you Blade Motorcycles for recommending that. Still, that makes it a lot nicer. Definitely more sporty, and just everything tightens up, more responsive, the suspension, the throttle response, etc. I suppose that's testament to how good it is, how good the suspension and the chassis and everything's set up. It's still, you still feel in control. Just really nice setup. I prefer it than the CD1000. Feel safer on it, strangely enough. I suppose that's just testament to how good everything is. It's the torque, mate, from the bigger engine. It's so nice. I love it. I love this machine, and it's comfortable as well. If you want to be a bit sporty, you can, you know, lean forward, get down behind the fairing a little bit. Very big fan of this. Thank you so much, Blade Motorcycles in Swindon, for giving me the opportunity to ride this motorbike. It is a special bike, and it is one that is on my list, to say the least. See you in the next video, guys. Many thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe if you enjoyed it. Ciao bella.